No ordinary teenager.
This was not an ordinary 17-year-old.
His crimes affecting some of the world's most powerful people.
Some of the most famous people.
Most powerful people.
Elon Musk, Kanye West, Floyd Mayweather, Kim Kardashian.
Graham stole $117,000 in virtual currency.
A simple Bitcoin scam. At the end of the day, he acted like a kid.
Do you swear and affirm that all the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Everyone talks about just one person, Graham Ivan Clark. Only a few years later, you hear his name in all the news. In 2020, he seemingly led the largest hacking attack of that time. He hacked into the Twitter accounts of people like Kanye West, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and former U.S. President Barack Obama.
It's appropriate to assume that every single penny that this defendant has access to is by ill-gotten gain.
In only one evening, he stole millions worth in bitcoins, causing immense damage. Graham lived his lifestyle of cars, an extravagant setup, money, and even more money. Just a few years ago, he was a normal teenager, playing Minecraft, making YouTube videos, the typical stuff any 13-year-old does. But how did it come to this? How could a rebellious teenager execute one of the biggest hacking attacks of our time? How could he steal $4.5 million so easily? And where did it all begin? Trust me, this is much bigger than it seems at first.
Clark was the subject of an earlier investigation that ended in April, in which his defense attorney says he had around $3 million worth of Bitcoin. The FDLE alleges Clark used some of that money to set up infrastructure for this Twitter hack.
But to really understand how all this happened, let's start from the beginning. It's the year 2016. Graham opens up his YouTube channel, Open, where he uploads Minecraft gameplay and hardcore fiction. These videos gain popularity quickly, and everything seems normal. He appears in his videos as a nice kid who loves gaming and wants to share it with the world. But in October 2016, less than 2 months after starting his channel, other members of the community began to speak out against Graham and expose him.
Okay, that goes to a website, blaze.tk.
User disconnected from your channel.
All of his giveaways are completely fake. He scams people. Like, never trust this guy if you're gonna buy a Minecraft cape or an OG account or anything like that. They completely scam you.
Terrible things came to light. Video evidence, claims of scamming other players, stealing personal information, and initiating DDoS attacks. Initially, his community defended him, but as the wave of videos against Open grew, even his last viewers fell silent. In February 2017, he was banned from almost every server in the community, and his name gradually faded away. Graham also closed or sold his YouTube channels, and things quieted down around him.
The State Attorney's Office here for the 13th Judicial Circuit agreed not to prosecute Mr. Clark for any activities relating to that search warrant from August of last year, and they returned to him roughly 75% of the Bitcoin.
However, even though things calmed down, Graham never really disappeared from the scene. He stumbled upon a website called OG Users, where Minecraft usernames are sold. In Minecraft, each account has a unique username, so there are rare usernames, like first names, simple adjectives, or even just letters and numbers. But upon closer examination of the website, it becomes apparent that not only Minecraft usernames are traded there, but also private, real addresses and names. Graham was thrilled from the start and quickly made contacts with some followers of the scene. In no time, more than just buying and selling usernames was happening. Together with his newfound friends, at the age of 16, Graham executed a SIM swap attack to transfer 164 bitcoins to Greg Bennett. At this point, Graham and his friends were living in absolute luxury. But somehow, that wasn't enough for Graham. He wanted more, something of his own.
He had access to all Twitter accounts. He received over $117,000 US.
On May 3rd, he planned to attack Twitter. He spent weeks alone scouring LinkedIn for profiles of Twitter employees who potentially had access to the admin panel. Then he searched various platforms for their contact details and other private information. He searched everything he could find: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, until he had enough to start hacking. Initially, he called the private numbers of Twitter employees, posing as part of the Twitter IT department to solve alleged problems with the internet network. Keep in mind that all of this happened during the 2020 pandemic, when Twitter employees were mostly working from home. At first, it wasn't easy for Graham. It took many attempts until he finally gained the trust of an employee, and the plan entered the second phase. For this, Graham created a website that looked like the company's internal VPN to the Twitter employees. However, it was a disguise. Now that he had access to the admin panel, he decided to sell special Twitter usernames. He brought in Chai Wan and Old Rolex from the OG users era, who sold usernames on the website for $250 each. Initially, it went well, but it wasn't enough for Graham. He wanted more. Perhaps the profits weren't enough for him, or he feared that time was running out until Twitter noticed someone had breached the system. So on June 15, 2020, in the middle of the night, without his accomplice's knowledge, he published a tweet on Binance. Over the next few hours, he tweeted from the accounts of the most well-known Twitter users, each with a link to a scam promising to double Bitcoins. As soon as someone bought coins there, the money went straight to Graham's account. Many users fell for the trick. Eventually, tweets from verified users appeared. It took Twitter 3 hours to stop the hack, but it was too late. It was a hacking attack of unprecedented magnitude.
Tampa Bay Times reports by changing his original not guilty plea to guilty, Graham will be sentenced as a youthful offender, getting 3 years in prison and 3 years of probation instead of the 10-year minimum prison sentence he would have received if he was tried as an adult. Under this deal, authorities say he will not be allowed to use computers without supervision and permission from law enforcement.
On July 31st, 2020, Graham was arrested in his house in Florida. He faced a total of 30 criminal charges, including 17 counts of communication fraud, 11 counts of fraudulent use of personal data, 1 count of organized fraud exceeding $5,000, and 1 count of unauthorized access to a computer or electronic device. During his initial hearing via Zoom meeting, he initially pleaded not guilty. However, a few months later, he received an offer that reduced his sentence to 3 years in prison and 3 years of probation. This also allowed him to register as a juvenile offender, significantly easing his life in prison. He could also serve part of his sentence in a boot camp, but for the next few years, he wouldn't be allowed to use a computer. His accomplices also received their sentences. In conclusion, I want to emphasize keeping your dreams in sight. Everything I do here, these videos, they exist solely because I pursue a dream, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this. Graham longed for fame, money, and recognition. He aspired to achieve something in his life, but chose the wrong path. Above all, be careful whom you trust with your money, and don't be deceived by quick fortune. I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribed, liked the video, and left a comment if you'd like to see more videos like this. And I'll see you next week.